we moved into this one after we got married. So this is us. This is you. Smiley face. So we moved into this side.
Yes.
Okay. So who was our very first tenant?
Was that young couple with the baby?
One of the things that we keep hearing from people is the horror stories about tenants.
Yeah.
When we first started, we did not know how to manage properties at all. We were just trying to figure things out. Then we got to the point where we figured some things out, tested it, and we've got to a place where the problems that we had early on, not even close to the problems we have now. So let's talk about a few of the problems, and then we'll talk about the problems we deal with now, and then we'll talk about what changed in how we were managing versus how we manage now.
Okay.
Because what I want to be able to do is give everybody, like, you can skip 10 years of misery, or maybe even longer, if you just go this way versus go this way. So what's some of our worst...
Well, maybe we should start with just our first property we bought and the multifamilies we did, and then why we got out of
let's do that. Let's do that. Let's talk about...
And why like living in the same property that you manage can be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just talk about the duplex. Let's talk about the duplex then.
Okay, so we were engaged and we were getting our real estate license at the same time. And we found a duplex up in Sugar House area that...
We were not the agent.
Correct. Yeah,
we hired an agent to do it for us. You don't need to be an agent to invest. There's pros, there's cons, conversation for another day. But so we found a duplex.
Yeah. So we went through another real estate agent. We bought the duplex.
I'm going to draw it.
Yeah. It had one side, it was like 2-bedroom, 1 bath. The other side was 2-bedroom, 1 bath with a basement of a family room and a bedroom, something like that. I can't really remember the layout. But what we decided to do is turn it into a 3-plex. So we took out the stairs inside and already had a separate entrance anyway to go down to the basement. So we redid that. So you walk in and there's like a hallway where the laundry facilities could be. And then you had the door for the like 3rd apartment. And we turned that into a family room. There's a kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom. So a little studio. That was the first remodel I had ever done. And so there was a learning curve to that. You had kind of done stuff with your dad here and there. And so I think it's great. If you're young, we tell our boys, like, go learn some of that stuff. Go mow lawns, go paint, go talk to plumbers, electricians, just kind of get a feel for it. But you can also just dive right into.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We just dived right into it. We figured we're going to change the layout and then paint and carpet mostly. Just needing updates. We didn't do anything significant with like the bathrooms or the kitchens.
Yeah,
so,
we pretty much left it the way that it was, other than when you went down these stairs, we basically put a door there and enclosed it.
Yeah.
There was already a bedroom, bathroom down here. So there's basically just paint, carpet maybe.
Yeah.
And then enclosing this, putting a mini kitchen down there is basically the extent of what we did.
So we didn't know this could be a zoning problem. We were just young. And we ended up putting 3 mailboxes up there. And that is eventually how zoning
got mad at us.
Got mad at us, is because I guess the mailman reported that there was 3 mailboxes.
So well, yeah, I think that the zoning was actually paying the post office, the postmen, to turn people in.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, because now in that same area, they would do anything for more affordable housing.
Yeah.
If we went with this, they'd be like, oh yeah, we would do it. Absolutely, no problem. We're not saying you should go do something that zoning doesn't say you should or shouldn't. We didn't really know. We just said, hey, we can turn this into a 3-plex. We're going to do it. We put up an extra mailbox. We didn't even think about zoning. That's how kind of naive we were.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, let's just do it. Like, it's our property. We can do what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Why couldn't we do it?
Yeah. So we just did it, and then zoning came in. So we worked out a solution with zoning, so got that all taken care of. So
a creative solution.
Very
creative solution.
That's I say this a lot, but the most successful real estate investors are the very best problem solvers. So when you look at things, you have to solve the problem. And the problem may be, how can I turn this into more revenue? The problem may be, how can we fix this and not spend a ton of money? The problem may be, how do we make this person happy or this person, like solving problems is who gets paid the most. You solve the biggest problem, you get paid the most. That's just all there's to it.
Yep, you just keep going and keep going. We didn't have to sell it, even though we needed that rental income. Again, we just found a solution. We weren't going to let anything stop us from making this property work. So rented it for a while, couple years,
Well,
2 years or something.
I don't think we talked about this, but Hillaree and I, we moved into this one after we got married.
After we got married.
So this is us. This is you. Smiley face. So we moved into this side.
Yes.
Okay. So who was our very first tenant?
Was that young couple with the baby?
Oh, yes.
Do you
That
remember
worked
their
out.
names?
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
But we got a referral from my grandma, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I think she had a studio and we had a 2-bedroom and they needed something. Anyway, so we had a young family in there with a baby. Worked out great. Did we have any problems with them that comes to mind?
No, they were great.
What made them great?
They were quiet. They kept to themselves. They paid rent on time and they took care of the property. Like,
Check,
they were great.
check.
Yeah, they were great. No problems.
What did we do to screen to make sure they'd be great tenants?
I don't know if we did anything.
I don't think we did anything.
We probably didn't.
We probably did a background check, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, if we did, it was minimum.
Minimal. Okay. So then they buy a house, right? So then what happens? What happens next?
Well, and so the basement we're renting to a single lady, and it's going pretty good. She's sometimes late on her payments, and we eventually have to evict her. We didn't have to go through like the whole process, but we did have to give her notice. But do you remember when her friends came and knocked on the door?
Yeah.
So while we were kind of putting some heat on her to pay us, one night in the middle of the night, we wake up with just like pounding on our door. And it was around Halloween. And so we had some pumpkins out. And they assumed because of that we had kids, which we didn't have kids. And they started to like threaten us, like, we know you have kids in there. Like, you better open the door. Like, like we're here because of this one.
And this is in a really safe neighborhood. This is not in, major crime areas, that type of stuff.
Yeah. So we get out of bed and we're just like, what the heck is going on? We're startled. And of course, we're not going to open the door. And so I start to call 911. And Ryan, you grab your shotgun and you pump it right in front of the door. And they go away. So that's when we were like,
crazy.
okay, we're done with this chick. It happened to be some brothers or some boyfriends
Friends
or whatever. They were just trying to scare us so she didn't have to finish paying rent. So we got rid of her. Then when these people moved out, the couple with the baby, Miss Rosalina moved in. She was really special. She was a single mom and had one son.
Didn't she have the dead cat in the freezer?
Yeah.
So just so all of you know, back in 2001, long before The Office came about, long before Angela and Dwight, and long before Dwight...
They stole this idea from us.
They stole it from us, and we still want to get paid. So Dwight, in one of The Office episodes, there's one of Angela's cats that's dying, and so he actually gives it some pills or something so it goes to sleep, and then he puts it in the freezer. Okay?
Yeah.
So the reason I bring that up is because Miss Rosalina, at the time that she rented from us, actually had a cat die, and she put it in the freezer as well to keep it there. I have no idea why.
Yeah, because she couldn't bury it. She couldn't find a place to bury it.
Oh, so she was going to freeze it until she
just
did.
kept it until she figured things out. So
crazy. Okay, but let's back up all the way. Like, we didn't know all that stuff about her, right? So these guys move out, and we start looking for a new tenant.
Yeah. So we get Miss Rosalina. I do remember her meeting with her at my office on 33rd, 100 South. So I do know I went through some type of process.
An application
and
probably
process.
A credit check.
And there was like so many red flags.
We didn't know this at the time. These
No,
are
of
red
course
flags.
not.
This is
Of course
part of the
not.
learning.
And when I'm talking to her, she's telling me these stories, and there's a lot of drama in her life. I don't think anything of it. You know, I don't think that it's gonna really matter with renting the property. So we have her move in, and we start to realize that she is kind of drama, and she's also a hoarder. And it gets to the point where her stuff is starting to go out into, we share like a patio, like right there. And so all of her stuff is like coming out, starting to overflow. Again, it's just kind of weird because we're trying to like have her clean up the place, but we're trying to be friends. So we go in to her house and we're like, we're going to help you clean this up. Just like as
neighborly.
friends,
Just
as
neighborly,
like,
yeah.
we're going to help you clean this up. And we walk in, and the place is crazy. The place is crazy. She is a hoarder.
We had no idea that it was this bad. Like, we knew she had some extra stuff.
Things were stacked up from floor to ceiling.
There was like boxes.
Could barely walk through.
And boxes on this side. And in all the rooms, you'd have to like go through. It was crazy.
Yeah. So at that point, like, we tried to help her go through stuff, get rid of stuff. At that point, you were like, we're moving. We're done.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I want to talk about. Is that was one of the major lessons learned for us is we are never the owner of the property. We are always the manager.
Yeah. So
we're the manager of the property, and so we're not going to make the decision. We're going to talk to the owners to make the decision. And you can legitimately do that, specifically if your property is owned in a limited liability or an LLC or a company.
Don't own it.
If your company's in an LLC or a company, whatever the case is, you are not the owner of the property. That LLC is the owner of the property. So what I'm always telling everybody is, oh, are you the owner of the property? I'm saying, I wish I was the owner of the property, but I'm the manager, and I manage the property because it's in this LLC. They don't need to know more details than that. And it also allows me to not have to answer their questions right then. Like, hey, will you guys do this? Or, this broke down, or we want this, or whatever the case is, tear down the fence and everything. Hey, great question. Let me talk to the owner. It's going to be a return on investment question as to money in versus what they get out. Are you willing to go up in rents for that? What can I propose to them? So it gives me the opportunity to show their side of the argument, which is really my side, but I'm doing that as a manager. So if they ask me to do something, I'm simply saying, hey, you know what? I don't get to make the decision. I got to talk to the owner.
Yeah.
The owner's going to look at this and say, how financially does this make sense? How does it help them? How does it, those types of things.
Yeah.
Give me a proposal, what might work for you. Great. I'll go talk to the owners. I'll be back to you in a few days, or I'll be back to you in a week. So you don't have to make that decision. And then you can go have a conversation with yourself, or you can have a conversation with your spouse and say, hey, what are we going to do here? What do we want to do here? And it gives you time. So lesson number one is you are never the owner. You are always the manager, and you always have to check with the owner. If you breach that rule, it's going to cause a lot of headache.
Yeah, it makes you have to be kind of the nice guy a little bit, instead of the owner can be the bad guy and you can be the nice guy all the time.
Yeah, good cop,
instead of being both like that. Yeah. Anyway, so we decide we're gonna move out. We're gonna go find a single family home. We're gonna keep the duplex, and for some reason we didn't kick Miss Rosalina out for a while, and I'm assuming it was just because of you don't want to lose rent and you are kind of scared.
Well, we were broke. It wasn't like we had money.
Yeah.
Which is probably the same reason with getting her in. It was like, we don't have the money. How are we going to pay the rent on this?
Yeah.
How are we going to pay the mortgage if she doesn't pay us? All those fun things.
So we rent our place. We find a new home. Miss Rosalina's still in there, and we find another tenant for the other place. And a couple months go by, and the place is kind of going downhill. Remember, you had to keep going over there and mowing and weed and stuff like that. And that just kind of bothered us because that was part of their...
I don't know if it was at the time.
Oh.
I don't know if it was. That's kind of lesson number 2 is you've got to be really clear as to what the landlord's responsible for and what the tenant is responsible for.
Maybe.
I don't remember. I don't remember if we were supposed to or they were supposed to.
Yeah.
But you got to be very clear with that, and we'll show you those things as time goes on here.
Yeah, because it's like, how do you split it? Probably what I would have done is said, hey, if you keep care of the lawn and do this and this and this, you can get $50 off rent.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I
we'll
would
talk.
done.
Yeah,
But
we'll tell you more
anyway,
how that works.
so one night we're in our new home and we're laying in bed, and this is when you just had like your ground line, your main line for your home.
Phone line is what she's saying. The old time phones, right?
So we're laying in bed and we get this call in the middle of the night, and we're just like, it goes to voicemail. And all you hear is like somebody unable to put the phone back in. Remember how she couldn't hang up for a few times and then she called again and again?
Oh, yeah,
That's what I was saying. Like, like someone's like having a hard time hanging up. So then she calls back again and she leaves this message. And she's like, hey, I hope this is Ryan and Hillaree Wright. We have a problem and I couldn't remember your number. So I just looked you up in the yellow pages, and I've gone through every single Wrights. I'm hoping this is
Called
you.
like 50 or 100 people.
She's like, the situation is, I've got really bad diarrhea.
I've got explosive diarrhea.
The toilet is
plugged.
It's plugged.
She's plugged it. She's put too much toilet paper down it.
All of a sudden, I pictured Miss Rosalina was a big girl. And now I'm picturing, in my mind, I'm picturing it flooding in sewer and just ruining my bathroom.
Crap everywhere.
In my mind, that is what, just crap everywhere, water going everywhere. And she's like, and I've tried to unplug it, but my son's too young, and I try to do it, but I broke my wrist before because my ex-husband beat me. And
super sad.
So I can't do it, and it's going really, really bad. And oh my gosh, it's coming again. It's coming down. I'm going to have to go to the gas station. I'm going to have to go to the 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven.
Okay, blah, 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 bye. And so we sit there and we're like,
what do we do?
Holy crap. Holy crap.
What do we do?
If we call her back and go over there, now she knows where we live. And
she knows our home phone
number instead of calling our cell number. And so we just let it go and have a restless night. And then in the next morning, we
So I'm
go
like,
over there.
what's the worst thing that could happen is kind of what I'm playing through.
Yeah.
And so this is the scenario that I think stops most people from getting into rental real estate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like
that's
phone
it.
calls like this,
Yeah.
middle of the night. So we talk about it then. Let's fast forward 23 years. How many middle of the night phone calls because the toilet won't flush do you get now?
Never.
Doesn't
I
happen.
never had another one.
Never. Never.
Yeah.
And it's because some things we put in place. So
Yeah.
we'll talk
Yeah.
about that. But
Yeah.
it doesn't happen.
never again. And so yeah, Ryan's kind of like, hey, we're just gonna let this go, and in the morning we'll come over.
We start doing some landscaping in the morning and see if she
comes running out. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys are here.
And we're like,
You'll never know.
What are you talking
happened."
about? What happened?
Yeah.
Oh, really? That was a surprise. Because we didn't want to let her know she knew the phone number. And we're like, well, why didn't you call our
cell number?
cell phone?
She's like,
or,
oh, you weren't answering.
Yeah, which we wouldn't answer.
Yeah.
We're not going to answer.
Yeah. So so she tells us the story. She, I guess, got a plumber in the middle of the night to come out.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
I think so.
I thought she stopped using it.
Yeah,
I can't
that might have been it. But
I can't remember.
There wasn't sewer everywhere. In my mind, I was like, thousands and thousands of dollars was like running out the toilet. And so, but it wasn't the case. It was plugged, but no problem. So anyway, after that, we were kind of like done in a way. We were so sick of tenants. That was our first experience. We had the piper downstairs that we had to evict. Yeah.
And deal with all that situation.
And they're threatening us.
This is the quintessential of like, why in the world am I doing this?
Yeah.
Right? And how much money were we making from it at the time?
Maybe $100.
On all 3 units?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a
So
lot.
we're not making much money. We've got to fix things. We got to do this. And we're just like,
yeah.
Who in the world, how does this make any sense?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we sell the duplex, right?
Not then. We kept renting it. We put new renters in.
Okay, but at
We
some
sold
point,
it later. We sold it probably 5 years in.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no, we sold it before 5 years, so
Exactly.
we could do the 1031.
No, so we could do
I
the
mean,
owner
do
occupied.
the owner occupied.
So
Yeah.
at this time, with the IRS code, is if you live in a property for 2 out of 5 years, then the gains that you have from that property, you don't have to pay any taxes on. It depends on if you're married or if you're not married. So a married couple right now is up to $500,000. A single is up to $250,000. Let's break this down so you actually know what that means. So I can't remember the exact numbers, but let's say that we bought the duplex for $250,000. So under the threeplex, whatever the case is. Let's say, just to keep numbers really easy, let's say we spent $25,000 doing fix-ups, repairs. So we're into the property $275,000, okay? So as long as we live there for 2 out of 5 years, when we sell the property, let's say we sell the property for $400,000. Actually, let's say we sell the property for $475,000.
Easier math.
Easy math, yeah. And so, but then let's say we spent, so that's a $200,000 gain, but let's say we spent $50,000 in agent fees and title fees or whatever the case is. That puts us at a $150,000 gain. As an individual at the time of this recording, and you check with your tax guy, but
They still do that, though.
absolutely, as of right now, it's my understanding that they do, but check with your tax guy. So we didn't have to pay. We paid 0 income tax on this money, which is why, so we kept it just shy of 5 years, because that money became a huge nest egg for us to then buy other rental properties.
And we did do well. It was still worth it to go through all the crap. We still made a good profit.
I don't remember.
on
It wasn't 150,000. We probably made
no,
50
no, no,
grand,
no.
or I don't know.
think even less. I think we made maybe
30
like 20,
grand,
but
yeah.
I mean, 20 grand,
It was worth
that's
it.
fabulous.
It was
That's
totally
great.
worth it. Well, it was worth it because that allowed us to jump into more investments. And that's something I actually want to talk about, is house hacking. It really wasn't well known when we were doing this, which we kind of, we did house hacking. We did a house hack on that. So I want to talk a little bit more about house hacking at some point. And maybe we should do that now. So a couple of takeaways here is, one, you're not going to see the returns on these rental properties for a long time. I tell people frequently is, buy a property a year for 10 years, and in 20 years, you look like a genius. It doesn't matter what prices are at. It doesn't matter if you bought it in the middle of 2007 before the big crash happened, whatever the case is. If you own the property and you have the staying power to keep that property, there's some
creative
and being creative,
stuff
solving
happens.
problems. But this is what happens, guys.